Welcome to The Explainer. I'm so excited to dive into this with you today because we're about to explore a narrative that might literally change how you see yourself the next time you look in the mirror. We're going to trace a 13.8 billion year story. And the crazy part? The main character of this absolute epic is you.
Saying you're literally made of stardust isn't just some beautiful, poetic metaphor. No, it's hardcore scientific fact. You, yes, sitting right there, are made of atoms that were forged inside dying stars billions of years ago. The iron pumping through your blood right now, that came from an exploding supernova. The calcium reinforcing your bones was created in the heart of a massive star that doesn't even exist anymore. The journey from those dead stars to you, a thinking, breathing human being, is hands down the most incredible story science has ever pieced together.
So, that leaves us with the biggest question of all time. How did humans actually come into existence? Okay, let's dive into this. We're skipping any kind of traditional agenda today because we really just need to launch directly into this massive, chronological, cosmic journey to find the answer.
Section 1. From Stardust to Earth. Our story doesn't start on our familiar green and blue planet, but way out in the vast, awe-inspiring stage of the cosmos. We're zooming all the way out from absolute nothingness to the dramatic formation of the ground we walk on.
Let's just walk through this cosmic timeline for a second. Starting 13.8 billion years ago, the Big Bang happens. Before that, no space, no time, no matter. Just nothingness. Then boom! Everything explodes into being. Now, for hundreds of millions of years, the universe was really just dark clouds of drifting hydrogen. But then, gravity goes to work. It pulls those clouds together until stars ignite. And when those massive stars eventually died, they scattered heavy elements all across the universe. Fast forward a bit, and about 4.6 billion years ago, our sun forms, and leftover material clumps together to create this violent, volcanic early Earth. And then, against all odds, around 3.8 billion years ago, in those warm, ancient oceans, the very first living cell appeared. Just a single molecule that could do something absolutely miraculous. It could copy itself. Literally every living thing today descends from that one microscopic pioneer.
Section 2. The Blueprint of Life. So now we're transitioning from a world of microscopic single cells into this incredibly vibrant explosion of complex, multi-celled life that ultimately paves the way for us.
See, for over 1 billion years, life was honestly pretty simple. But 600 million years ago, complex life finally arrives. We start getting oceans full of worms and jellyfish. Eventually, life crawls up onto land, and the dinosaurs take over, ruling the planet for a staggering 165 million years. But then, 66 million years ago, a lucky for us, asteroid slams into Earth. It wiped out the dinosaurs, sure, but small, furry, nocturnal mammals actually survived the apocalypse. And with the giant reptiles out of the picture, those surviving mammals had the whole world to themselves. They diversified. Some went to the sea, some took to the sky, and some climbed up into the trees. Millions of years later, those tree dwellers eventually became the primates. Section 3. The Rise of Primates. Now we shift our focus directly to the continent of Africa. This is where our early ancestors began making this monumental transition, adapting from a life high up in the forest canopy to a totally new way of living down on the ground.
So we need to define a really crucial term right here: hominins. These are our early ape ancestors who started spending time on the ground and doing something totally revolutionary, which is walking upright on 2 legs. The most famous example of this is Lucy. She's a phenomenal Australopithecus fossil from Ethiopia that dates back 3.2 million years. And what Lucy proved to the scientific world is that our ancestors actually started walking upright long before they ever developed big, complex brains.
But here's the thing, life on the ground was absolutely terrifying back then. Just take a look at this recent 2026 discovery, nicknamed Lucy's Hunter. This was a massive, monstrous crocodile species that prowled the exact same rivers where Lucy's species walked. Can you imagine the sheer terror of early survival? Just trying to get a quick drink of water meant risking your life against ancient river monsters. It really puts things into perspective, right? It contrasts the vast, sweeping scale of cosmic time with the fragile, horrifying, day-to-day struggle our ancestors faced just to survive to see the next sunrise.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it completely busts an old myth.
For the longest time, we pictured evolution as a simple straight line, right? Like a neat little ladder where one species just transforms into the next. But evolution is actually a messy, sprawling tree with tons of different branches. Stunning fossil discoveries in Ethiopia showed that early Homo species and Australopithecus actually lived together at the exact same time, around 2.6 to 2.8 million years ago. We weren't just passing a baton, we were sharing the exact same landscape.
Section 4. Our blended human ancestry. This brings us to a wildly fascinating chapter, zooming in on our direct Homo ancestors and the shockingly crowded, diverse ancient world they inhabited.
Around 2 million years ago, Homo erectus enters the scene, and they were a real game changer. They had bigger brains, crafted stone tools, and they were the very first of our ancestors to actually leave Africa, spreading out into Asia and Europe. In December of 2025, scientists completely digitally reconstructed the face of a 1.5 million-year-old Homo erectus. And while its face still looked remarkably primitive, researchers noted that its brain case was surprisingly advanced for its time. They were definitely getting smarter.
And this brilliantly illustrates how complex our family history actually is. Around 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens, so that's us, finally appear. But we absolutely were not alone on this planet. At the exact same time, Neanderthals were living in Europe. The Denisovans were hanging out in Asia. There were even other unidentified human species out there that we haven't fully discovered yet. Modern humans aren't just from one isolated group. In fact, a recent University of Cambridge study revealed evidence of a 1.5 million-year-old genetic mixing event. Early human groups coexisted, interacted, and they mixed constantly.
Let's look a little closer at the Denisovans. For a long time, they were sort of this ghost lineage, a mysterious group we only knew about from tiny scraps of DNA found in a Siberian cave. But in 2025, incredible molecular evidence linked them to China's famous Dragon Man skull, finally giving a face to this mysterious group. And amazingly, ancient Denisovan DNA is still actively working inside us today, literally shaping human immunity in populations across the Pacific right now. How cool is that?
And speaking of ancient DNA, let this massive statistic sink in for a second. 1 to 4%. If you're of European or Asian descent today, roughly 1 to 4% of your DNA comes directly from our ancestors interbreeding with Neanderthals. When early humans left Africa, they didn't just fight the other humans they met, they mated with them. We are a beautifully blended species, carrying the genetic ghosts of multiple ancient human populations inside every single one of our cells.
Section 5. What makes us special? So, a massive question arises here. If there were so many different types of humans running around, why did Homo sapiens survive and thrive to conquer the entire globe while all the other branches of the human tree completely faded away?
Well, let's track this incredibly rapid explosion across the planet. Step 1. About 70,000 years ago, we hit the Great Leap Forward. Our behaviors suddenly became hyper-sophisticated. We started making art, complex tools, and really thinking symbolically. Step 2. We spread rapidly out of Africa. And step 3, in just 60,000 years, which is a blink of an eye in cosmic terms, we colonized the globe. We crossed land bridges and vast oceans. Literally no other species in Earth's history has ever done anything remotely like this. By the end of the sprint, human footprints were on every single continent on Earth, except Antarctica.
So, the crucial point is trying to understand our species' specific superpowers. Why us? Well, our brains are 3 times larger relative to our body size than any other primate. We developed complex language to share ideas. We evolved this totally unique ability for mass cooperation among total strangers based on shared beliefs. We learned to control fire, which let us cook food, making it way easier to digest and literally fueling the massive growth of our brains. We had precise, opposable thumbs for complex tools. But honestly, perhaps our greatest superpower is cumulative culture. We don't have to start from scratch every single generation. We inherit thousands of years of accumulated wisdom. We're standing on the shoulders of everyone who came before us. Section 6. The unfinished scientific story. As we come to the modern day, we really have to recognize one fundamental truth about science. This epic narrative from stardust to global civilization, it's an unfinished story. Science is constantly rewriting this script from the inside out through recent breakthroughs. Just recently, 2025, brand new fossils revealed entirely hidden branches in human evolution, proving our family tree is far more complex than we ever even imagined. In March of 2026, a newly discovered fossil ape in northern Egypt suggested we might have even been looking in the completely wrong place for the dawn of our origins.
And researchers recently figured out that malaria, of all things, didn't just make early humans sick, it actively sculpted where we lived and how we evolved. It seems like every single year, a new fossil or genome adds a completely new twist to the tale.
Let's just recap this final breathless sprint of the human story and connect it all back together. 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens first step onto the stage. Just 70,000 years ago, we embark on this massive global migration. And then, merely 10,000 years ago, which is practically yesterday in the grand scheme of things, we built the very first cities and civilizations. We're linking a vast, 13.8 billion year cosmic timeline directly to the present moment, to the cities we live in, and to the screens you're looking at right now.
Which brings us to the most profound realization of all. You are the universe, experiencing itself. You are the ultimate result of a dying star's explosion, of a warm, ancient ocean, of a lucky asteroid impact, of millions of years of messy evolution, and the countless love stories of ancient ancestors fighting to survive. Against all impossible odds, this universe produced consciousness. Every single atom in your body has a magnificent story that stretches all the way back to the very beginning of time itself.
So I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. Does knowing this deeply scientific, billions of years old story make you feel more connected to the vast universe, or does it make you feel incredibly small? Take a moment, reflect on your literal, physical connection to the cosmos, and let that sense of awe sit with you today. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Keep wondering, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.